somewhere beyond the edge of our solar system, farther than any human hand has ever reached. Voyager 2 is silently gliding through the interstellar void. But what it just sent back isn't just another measurement or signal echoing into deep space. It's an image, a final image, now decoded. And what that decoding revealed is so unexpected, so perfectly structured, so out of place in the infinite randomness of the cosmos that it sent shockwaves through the deepest corners of the scientific community, leaving the world in a grip of primal fear. An anomaly, geometric, intelligent-looking, disturbingly deliberate, captured, not by accident, but by a probe, powered by plutonium and guided by commands typed decades ago. But how is it possible that this ancient machine, older than the modern internet itself, has now become the messenger of something that may not be natural at all? Was Voyager 2 followed? Did it cross into a region where physics itself behaves differently? Or has it stumbled upon something that was never meant to be seen? This isn't a coincidence. This is a warning signed in mathematics, woven in light, encoded in the final frames of Voyager 2's journey. And if you think the universe is empty, think again. When Voyager 2 launched in 1977, it carried with it humanity's most optimistic gesture, a golden disk filled with greetings, music, and sounds of Earth. A time capsule aimed at whoever or whatever might find it. That was the message, or so we thought. But nearly 50 years later, what Voyager 2 has returned with suggests something even more chilling. The reply, now decoded in exquisite, terrifying detail. The image retrieved from Voyager's final data burst wasn't supposed to be possible, not with its failing cameras, not at this distance. And yet, when analyzed using a quantum AI system designed to scan for patterns invisible to the human eye, it revealed a structure. Not a star, not a planet, not dust or plasma, but a lattice, precise, symmetrical, and persistent across multiple frames. It's the kind of order that defies randomness and whispers of design. But here's what's worse. It remained fixed in relative position to the spacecraft, as if orbiting it or tracking it. And now, with the decoding complete, that lattice unfolds into layers of embedded information, layers that speak in codes we can barely comprehend, codes that have just scared the world into reevaluating everything we know about existence. Scientists at NASA were quick to rule out hardware failure. The anomaly wasn't just seen in one camera. It was present in multiple instruments layered across different wavelengths and time intervals. The structure, when mapped, showed repeating Fibonacci ratios and prime number spacings, a signature so profoundly mathematical that one physicist described it as the universe winking at us with code. But with the full decoding, those ratios peel back to reveal nested fractals, self-similar patterns that echo the Mandelbrot set, but twisted into forms that suggest intentional embedding, as if the anomaly is a data packet, compressed and waiting for the right key, our quantum AI, to unlock it. The decoded layers show not just math, but sequences that align with fundamental constants like pi and the golden ratio, interwoven in ways that natural processes could never produce without deliberate orchestration. But structures like this don't exist in deep space, especially not ones that seem to adapt. That's right. When Voyager sensors actively scanned, the anomaly changed slightly, as if responding to being observed. This behavior is reminiscent of the observer effect in quantum mechanics, but not at the atomic scale. This was kilometer-wide. How can a structure react to observation unless it's aware? And if it's aware, it might not be natural. It might be artificial, or worse, it might be alive. The decoding amplifies this horror. The changes weren't random, they formed predictive algorithms, anticipating the probe's next scan with eerie precision, as if the anomaly was learning from Voyager in real time, adjusting its form to communicate more effectively, or perhaps to probe us back through the data stream. To understand what Voyager 2 might have encountered, we must accept an unsettling truth. The edge of our solar system isn't just a boundary of particles and plasma. It's a transition region where the very fabric of space begins to mutate. According to quantum gravity theorists, space-time beyond the helipause could allow phenomena we've never modeled. Think of it as the cosmic twilight zone, where the rules written in Einstein's language begin to blur and bend into quantum dialects. Emerging theories from loop quantum gravity suggest that at these distances, space-time foam, tiny fluctuations at the Planck scale, could aggregate into macroscopic structures under certain conditions. But the decoded image defies even that. It shows quantized loops that aren't chaotic, but ordered, as if engineered to bridge quantum and classical realms, creating a stable anomaly that could serve as a gateway or a sentinel. The structure captured in Voyager's image fits no known model of interstellar matter. It reflects no light, but absorbs specific frequencies. It casts no shadow, but disrupts magnetic fields. It might not be part of our dimension at all. Some suggest what Voyager saw could be a projection, a higher dimensional object intersecting with our space. In simpler terms, a shadow from another universe. Now following a machine we built in the 1970s with technology less advanced than a modern calculator. The decoding takes this further. Embedded in the absorbed frequencies are spectral lines that match hypothetical signatures from brain theory, where our universe is a three-dimensional brain floating in higher dimensional bulk space. If true, this anomaly could be a puncture point, a deliberate fold where extra dimensions leak through, not accidentally, but as a constructed interface, one that Voyager inadvertently activated by crossing the heliospheric boundary. It wasn't just the shape. When quantum AI passed the data, it uncovered something buried deep in the anomaly's transmission patterns, sequences. Not just any sequences, but prime numbers, Fibonacci spirals, and geometric symmetries that mirrored the exact mathematical language used on the Voyager Golden Record. The patterns lined up with Earth's attempt to define universal math, a Rosetta Stone for alien minds. But here's the terrifying twist. The response wasn't just similar, it was mirroring. It was as if something out there had not only received our message, but understood it, and replied using the same language, encoded in a structure only detectable by the very AI we just developed. Not decades ago, not 5 years ago. Now, as if whatever's out there was waiting for us to get smart enough to hear it. The full decoding reveals even more. The mirroring isn't passive, it's iterative, with each layer of the sequence building upon the last, incorporating elements from our golden record, but evolving them into more complex theorems. Like unsolved problems in number theory, suddenly resolved in alien notations, as if challenging us to continue the conversation. While the public was offered vague statements about unusual data artifacts, something very different was unfolding behind NASA's sealed conference rooms. Leaked internal emails revealed that top-level scientists were instructed not to speak to the press about the image or the mirrored patterns it contained. A rapid shift in communication protocols followed. Voyager's data streams were rerouted, mirrored into private quantum computing labs, and heavily encrypted. Why? Because the implications were too destabilizing, not just for physics, but for geopolitics, religion, and science itself. One anonymous systems engineer described the internal atmosphere as identical to a Cold War alert, not from fear of destruction, but fear of contact. Because if Voyager's image was truly a response, it meant the experiment was over. We sent the signal, and something finally replied, and now it's too late to take it back. With the decoding public, that fear has spread globally, igniting debates that question our readiness for such truths. As nations scramble to interpret the data independently, fearing hidden messages that could upend power structures or reveal vulnerabilities in our understanding of reality. As the news filtered through unofficial channels, the scientific community began to split. On one side, traditionalists insisted the structure could be explained by previously unknown interstellar dust formations or lensing effects, but others, particularly those in theoretical physics and quantum field modeling, weren't convinced. Several papers initially uploaded to Archive and mysteriously removed within hours claimed that the data matched predicted behaviors of artificially generated quantum fields. In layman's terms, fields manipulated not by nature but by design. These theorists proposed that Voyager had entered a controlled region of space where information itself could be shaped, redirected, even encoded visually. One physicist compared the image to a glyph, something between a symbol and a command. The decoding supports this. The glyph-like patterns resolve into holographic projections when simulated in quantum computers, suggesting the anomaly is a multidimensional data storage device capable of holding vast information, densities far beyond our current technology, perhaps encoding entire histories or instructions from an advanced intelligence. And then came the unthinkable suggestion: what if this was more than a reply? What if it was an invitation? Delving deeper into the decoded sequences, patterns emerge that resemble coordinate systems, not in our familiar Cartesian grids, but in non-Euclidean geometries consistent with wormhole metrics from general relativity. If interpreted as such, the anomaly could be pointing to a location, a rendezvous point beyond our solar system where further interaction awaits. But an invitation to what? A meeting of minds across the void, or a trap laid for curious species venturing too far? Emerging theories in astrobiology speculate that such structures could be remnants of ancient cosmic networks, built by civilizations long extinct, designed to lure or test emerging intelligences, assessing their technological maturity before revealing greater secrets or dangers. Voyager's magnetometers, despite operating far past their expected lifespan, began to show data that defied understanding. The local magnetic field near the object pulsed, not randomly, but in timed intervals, regular, predictable, like a beacon, like a heartbeat. These pulses had no terrestrial explanation and were not tied to solar activity or galactic turbulence. More disturbingly, the intervals between each pulse formed a Fibonacci progression, matching the same sequences detected visually in the object's structure. For decades, we've searched for signs of alien life in radio waves and exoplanet atmospheres. But what Voyager 2 might have just found is something far more advanced, a civilization or force that manipulates the very environment around it, leaving behind not wreckage or radio, but pattern, knowing only the intelligent would see it. And we just did. The decoding of these pulses uncovers rhythmic modulations that align with bioacoustic principles, akin to neural firing patterns in complex brains, suggesting The anomaly might possess a form of sentience, not biological, but emergent from quantum entanglement, where consciousness arises from correlated particles across vast distances, a theory gaining traction in quantum cognition studies. As analysis deepened, a terrifying thought began to solidify, not in science journals, but in private meetings among physicists, signal analysts, and AI theorists. What if Voyager's image wasn't of an object? What if it was a reflection, not metaphorically, but literally, a dynamic, responsive distortion in space itself, like a mirror turning itself toward us the moment we looked too deeply? Speculative models from string theory propose that such reflections could be echoes from parallel universes where brains collide or resonate, creating observable artifacts. The decoded data hints at this. Spectral shifts in the anomaly's emissions match predictions for Kaluza-Klein modes. Extra-dimensional vibrations that could reflect our own reality back at us, altered slightly to convey information, as if the universe is self-aware, using Voyager as a lens to observe itself, or us. Some suggested Voyager hadn't captured something new, but had triggered something dormant, a mechanism, a field, a sentient surveillance system lying in wait, invisible until one of our machines finally breached the correct boundary, not to be attacked, not to be welcomed, but simply to be seen. And now, with Voyager drifting silently into the darkness, leaving behind an image that should not exist, we may have crossed a threshold we were never meant to reach, one where the observers become the observed. The full decoding exacerbates this. Hidden within the reflection are subtle distortions that mimic Earth's electromagnetic signatures, as if the anomaly is replaying our own signals back to us, amplified and modified, perhaps to simulate a dialogue or to map our technological footprint, raising questions about privacy in the cosmos. Have we been watched all along? For nearly half a century, Voyager 2 drifted silently through the void, carrying with it the hopes of a species too young to understand what it was truly asking. We embedded our music, our mathematics, our heartbeat into a disk of gold and launched it into the unknown, believing that maybe someday someone would find it. But deep down, we never truly believed they'd answer. Until now, the final image Voyager 2 captured isn't just a picture, it's a rupture, a quiet tear in our understanding of what lies beyond. A geometric echo of our own logic reflected back at us in forms too precise, too deliberate to be chance. It's not a star, not a planet, not a comet or dust or gas. It's something else, something that thinks, that waits, that mirrors, and worst of all, something that seems to understand us. We once believed we were sending our message into the void, but Voyager's final act may have confirmed the most ancient fear buried in every myth, in every religion, in every staring eye that ever looked up at the sky. We were never alone. Not in this galaxy, not in this dimension, not even in our silence. And now, with a single image captured by a dying machine, that silence has been broken. The sky is no longer quiet because something just blinked. The decoding has amplified that blink into a stare, one that pierces through our illusions of isolation, forcing us to confront the philosophical weight of contact. If this is a reply, what does it say about our place in the cosmos? Are we pioneers or intruders? The intellectual depth of this revelation demands we explore further, probing theories like panspermia or simulation hypotheses where such anomalies could be code injections from a higher reality designed to awaken us. Yet the fear it instills is not just intellectual, it's existential. stirring emotions of awe mixed with dread, as we realize our outreach might have invited scrutiny from forces beyond comprehension. Emerging quantum information's theories suggest the anomaly could be an entanglement bridge, linking distant points in space-time, allowing instantaneous communication or observation, defying light speed limits through wormhole-like shortcuts. If so, the decoding isn't just revealing a structure, it's unveiling a network, one that Voyager tapped into, potentially connecting us to a web of intelligences spanning the universe, where every probe we send becomes a node in an unseen grid. This possibility drives home the emotional intensity. Our curiosity, once a spark of hope, now feels like a flame, too close to the unknown, illuminating shadows we might regret seeing. Speculative science in multiverse frameworks posits that the anomaly represents a choice point, a bifurcation where realities diverge based on observation, echoing the many worlds interpretation, but on a cosmic scale. By decoding it, we've chosen a path, one where contact is inevitable, altering our trajectory forever. The world's scare stems from this. The decoding doesn't just inform, it transforms, embedding in our collective psyche the realization that the void gazes back with intent. Philosophical implications ripple outward. Does this affirm or shatter our anthropocentric views? If the anomaly is alive, what ethics govern our response? Intellectually, it beckons us to advance, merging AI with astrophysics to simulate responses, predicting next signals in this unfolding dialogue. But emotionally, it tugs at our core, evoking wonder laced with vulnerability, as we stand on the precipice of a new era. The pacing of revelation builds inexorably, from hook to horror, awe to implication, each layer deepening the engagement, compelling us to linger in the mystery. And in that lingering, we find the true weight. The universe, once vast and indifferent, now feels intimately aware, its secrets decoded just enough to terrify yet inspire. If this revelation shook you, if it made you question everything we thought we knew about space, time, and solitude, then don't walk away in silence. Turn on notifications, because Voyager's final message may not be its last. Share this with someone who still believes space is empty. Comment below. Was it a reply or a test?